The holiday season is right around the corner, and that means your wife's or husband's office party or your neighbor's caroling party, and they're going to be going on, and there's going to be lots and lots of small talk. So are you ready to schmooze? Well, here to the rescue is the woman who wrote the book on the fine art of small talk. Her name is Debra Fine, and she joins us live from Seattle, Washington with some pointers. Thank you for waking up early for us.
You are so welcome, Carol. I'm glad to be here. I'm a little afraid of Chad right now, but I'm so glad to be here.
It's okay, I am too. I really am. Let's talk about... I know, that's a bad one, isn't it? But let's talk about going to a party. You're kind of a shy person. You have no idea how to start up a meaningless conversation, really, with a complete stranger. And you have some tips for us. And one of the tips is to memorize some opening lines. So tell us, besides that fantastic one that Chad had, what's a great opening line?
Well, if we're talking about a holiday party, Carol, some ideas that you might have in your head, and it's not even memorization as much as preparation. Just have 2 or 3 lines in your head when you walk into the door of an event or a dinner or whatever it may be, because the worst time to think of something to talk about is when there's nothing to talk about. So it should be your responsibility to come up with things to talk about to make people feel comfortable. At a holiday party, you might ask something as simple as, how do you know the host or hostess? Or how are you connected to this law firm if you're at some open house for a law firm? Or what got you involved with this organization? So that's one route that you can take. Another one might be, tell me about your favorite holiday tradition. Or how does this time of year impact your work or your life, or something along those lines.
And, you know, the other tip is practice makes perfect. So you're actually suggesting practicing those opening lines?
Well, it's not so much, yes, practice if you need practice, because the real key is, for instance, body language I talk about in the book. If you exude any, if you're uncomfortable, if you're ill at ease at a function, a party, a networking event, people pick up on that and they don't like to spend time with you. So if you need to practice in order to appear relaxed and at ease, then practice. But otherwise, do what I do, just fake it and pretend you're relaxed, exude, you know, this calm demeanor so that people will feel comfortable about being around you.
And you also say ask open-ended questions, so yes and no questions are out. We asked our viewers this morning, Debra, to give us some of their favorite one-liners. And Chad, do you have some of those?
You know, more than one-liners, but maybe a little bit of comedy here. James from Lawrenceville says he always likes to start the conversation with, "What's that on your nose?"
Oh, that's a good one, James. Does he get a lot of women that way?
I'm thinking no. I'm thinking probably not. Another one from Kevin says, "What do you think happens after we die?" That's probably not the first question I would ask.
Wow, no, that's a tough one.
Give us a good one. Our viewers must have a good one-liner to shoot out there.
"Hello, you look interesting. Do I know you?"
Well, see, you know why those are all good, by the way, Carol, Chad? I mean, they sound funny or cheesy. This is if anybody watching thinks about this, when someone approaches you to start a conversation, you decide before they open their mouth whether you're willing to talk to them or not. It's never the line. Unless it's offensive, that opening line, you've decided already you're too busy to talk to them, or they're too tall or too short, or they don't work for the right company. Last night, I was on an airplane flying into Seattle. I decided I didn't want to talk to anybody before I met anybody because I was exhausted flying in from Boston and just wanted to read my book and go to sleep. So no line would have worked for me. That's the key, is that be the first to say hello. They've already decided if they're going to talk to you or not.
You know, along those lines, you also have people that probably don't want to talk to you, and you have specific, I guess, personas of some people. One is the one-upper, and I think we can all guess what that kind of person does. But if you're a one-upper, nobody's going to want to talk to you, right?
Oh, I'm not so sure, Carol. How many of us have women friends when I say, well, it's been a really tough week with my daughter in college and da-da-da-da-da, and their response is, your daughter's in college, I have 3 kids in college, and you should see what I have to do. I have to do this, and I have to do that, and I have to do this, and then they go on and on and on, and they never ask me about my life. They just keep talking about themselves. They've not only upped me, but they become monopolizers as well, and yet they are what we call our friends, because those are some of our friends that just seem to talk about themselves all the time, or our boss who talks about themselves all the time, or one-ups us with the challenges he or she faces.
So it's not good to be a one-upper or a monopolizer. No. How about the interrupter? That's probably what I am.
You're an interrupter, Carol?
Yeah, I'll admit
No,
it.
well, I'm bad, and I'll tell you why I interrupt, for instance, my husband. I interrupt my husband within a moment of him beginning to explain something to me. I interrupt him because he's wrong, right? And I don't want him to waste one more moment of our precious time, one more drop of his saliva. So people like me interrupt so that you don't get to the end of your story because we know you're wrong and we just want to, tell you what the right thing is.
That's
so what most interrupters do.
Well, you don't want him to waste his saliva? I mean, now that's an opening line. Here, let me talk because, I don't want you to waste your saliva.
Well, but most people, there's good reasons to interrupt people. You're talking about a topic that makes me uncomfortable. I'll interrupt you to change the course of the topic. I need to exit. That's a good reason to interrupt someone. But people like me, the bad interrupters, are, as I'm asking him what he thought of, the White Sox making it into the World Series, as he tells me what his thoughts are about the whole series, I interrupt him because I don't want him to waste my time because I know what I think he should be saying, or I know what my opinion is, so I want to get it in there.
We're going to have your husband on next. Debra Fine.
Oh, he'll be so excited.
Debra Fine. I wish we had more time, but we got to wrap it up. The book is The Fine Art of Small Talk, and Deborah, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Carol. Thanks, Chad.
We'll be right back.